Hey guys, we're back with the next episode of Sryth, our fantasy text-based RPG. Last time we're still in the Proving Grounds 4, which is about the troll hunter. Pretty much everybody we were with. I don't remember the names. Jirig, Trey, Bar, or something, and Riel. Their minds have been ensnared by some kind of wolf sorcerer, and so we're trying to get to this guy, and he's putting all kind of roadblocks, sending all kind of creatures after us. So, let's just keep moving on, try to find our friends. Thanks so much for hanging out and joining me. Let's go. The Dome Chamber. Having survived the deadly snares your staff-holding foe left in his wake, you creep along the cave passage until it at last opens to a large dome chamber. A bright light suddenly flares at the center of the room, illuminating a wide area, revealing it an intriguing sight. Four men, each clad in chain armor, are engrossed in a heated discussion in the middle of the dome chamber. Your eyes are instantly drawn to the man gripping the tall wooden staff. Oh no. You know what happened? It's midnight right now. And I didn't get all my circles from yesterday because I didn't exercise yesterday. How rude. How very, very rude. I'm real PO'd about this. Oh well. Is what it is. Now it's brought up a February challenge. It's got the Lunar New Year challenge. And then it's got the February challenge, which is to go 47 miles. You kidding me? Alright. It's the man you've been trailing, the man who transformed into a wolfkin, the man who more than once nearly succeeded in ending your life, the man with the staff suddenly turns and faces you and a wicked grin spread across his broad face. The beast and traps would have been enough to deter even the simplest of foes, he sneers. The man turns away, and the light radiating from the tip of your staff momentarily washes over the face of the three men next to him. For a brief instant, their features seem more beastly than human, but there's no time to dwell upon the observation. Six dark lope out of the shadows. Six dark shapes leap out of the shadows at the edge of the chamber and move into the pool of light cast by the staff. Your heart races as your eyes fall upon the half-dozen large wolfkin, whose ravenous gazes are unnervingly fixed upon you. There, said the man as he extinguishes the light and retreats the others to the far side of the room. Perhaps a few friends. Then would beat you lacking. It was a valiant effort, but a fool's errand, and now you force my hand. Four men step into the shadow, are lost from sight. Fortunately, the six wolfkin remain. Snarling viciously, the six wolfkin close in around you. Their fangs bared and every fiber of their sinewy forms tense as prepared to strike. You quickly assume a defensive stance, your eyes scanning each of the savage wolf creatures in a rapid success, seeking any sign that would indicate the makings of an attack. With a terrifying howl, one of the wolfkin leaps at you, his clawed hands outstretched as it goes for your throat. Dead. Second one, also dead. Third one, still dead. Fourth one, towering wolfkin, also dead. The fifth one, dead. The last remaining wolfkin seems to take no heed of the deaths of others. I thought there was only 5. Their ferocious wolfman circles. Oh yeah, there were 6. You slowly seemingly seeking any opening in your defenses. With no desire to delay the inevitable, you feign a lapse in your guard as much as expecting your enemy takes the bait, leaving savagely at your throat. Also dead. The floor of the dome chamber is littered with bloodied remains of the slain wolfkin. You move to the far side of the room in search of the 4 men, but they are nowhere to be found. Instead, you discover a tall arch that opens into a broad passage. You're about to step into the passage and resume pursuit of your enemy. There's apparent accomplices when the soft moan from behind reaches your ears. You turn around and are greeted by a sight that's strange and unexpected, but ultimately welcome. Lying in spots formerly occupied by the battered carcasses of the dead wolfkin are the bodies of the 6 missing hutmen. Only Jirigs is missing. You are later discover that the men are all unconscious, but otherwise unscathed. They bear no sign of the brutal combat in which they were just involved. 3 of the huntsmen, Tanbar, Riel, and Brecken, have begun to stir. For the first time since you stepped from the cave, your spirits are buoyed by the renewed sense of hope. Despite your elation, you dare not let your guard down. The memory of your fight with Tanbar and his possessed state of the mouth of the cave is enough to make you wary of the waking huntsman. You're uncertain whether or not the men remain under control of the same sense of power that seemed to have taken hold of Tanbar, Riel, and Brecken, and presumably the others. The sound of the clawed foot scraping against the cave floor behind you interrupts your thoughts and makes your blood run cold. Uh-oh. This doesn't look good. I don't like the sound of that chapter, but who is it? Is it Jirig? Spun around, horrified by the sight that greets you. Stalking across the chamber in your direction is perhaps the largest forest troll you've ever seen. A hulking beast unhinges its massive jaws and emits a thundering bellow as it reverberates off the cave walls that stride steadily towards you. You haven't used gating yet. Let's go for that one. Swirling black vortex opens to the right of you. Step into the inky void and emerge seconds later behind the troll, oblivious to your new location. Then a well-placed blow from behind that staggers the mighty beast. It doesn't take long for the troll to counter-attack. You're now locked in a fight for your very life against a vicious, monstrous predator. Or he's dead. The massive troll staggers and then pitches forward, landing face first with a reverberating thud on the cave floor. You step back from his battered carcass and turn to check on the huntsman. To your surprise, Tanbar is sitting up. The master woodman smiles at you weakly and held heavily as he unsteadily tips to regain his feet. A painful moment from behind spins you around, but where the troll lay only moments ago is the prone form of Jirig. The troll hunter rolls onto his back and with obvious discomfort raises himself into his elbows. A large bruise on the right side of his face is only visible mar for the brutal fire that sends him rolling to the ground. Remind me never to cross you, Ellison, he says wryly, his voice devoid of his normal resonance. And all of that was something I'd like to stay clear of in the future. Help Jirig to his feet, and together with Tanbar you set about waking and helping the other huntsmen to their feet. Once everyone has been revived, Jirig tells Tanbar, Riel, and the others to return to camp and move the company to a more easily defended spot. In times you said there is unfinished business here. I'll find you soon enough, he says, turning to Tanbar. If you cannot find safety, head for South Dawn. Take care, friends. Don't know what you might find back there. And the others have departed. Jirig again turns you and tells you that if you choose to remain by his side, you'll be putting yourself in grave danger. I'll lay it out for you as plain as I can, he says. But I can't ask this of you, Ellison. I will gladly accept your help. Believe me, I will, but I can't ask you for it. He assured Jirig that he needn't ask for your help, and that he can put such talk to an end. He smiles and reaches your shoulder across as a relieved look passes over his face. Then allow me to. Without warning, Jirig slams upon his right hand into your shoulder. The staggering force of the unexpected blows sends you sprawling to the floor of the dome chamber as a wide arc of lightning erupts out of the gloom and passes directly through the space you occupied only a split second ago. Okay. His unblinking gaze fixed on the tall arch where the attack came. He draws a sword and with his left hand reaches out and helps you to your feet. Jeez! Alright. The enemy revealed. Who is it? Let's see. The snake and the hero stares a staff-holding man as he and the 3 others step back into the chamber, pausing from beneath the arch. I wonder, does your friend know your true skin, Jirig? Or perhaps you ask more readily to ask Jirig. Jirig glares contemptuously at the man and tightens his grip on the hilt of his blade. And you, hero, scoffs the unfriendly but now familiar face. Why don't you ask your friend why he's so effective at hunting and killing trolls? Oh, perhaps you already know. Leave her out of this, Jirig says slightly. I know what you want, Osbirak. The The man laughs and leans on his wooden staff. He reaches up and fingers a copper metal medallion dangling from a chain around his neck. You curiously know that it appears that half the medallion is missing. What I want, Osjrig, is for this is a separate veil you hide behind to lift. He growls, holding forth the half-completed medallion at the end of the chain. Like only half of my father's request that it blackens his legacy, know that a murderous stake still holds onto that which he bears no rightful claim. Give me what is mine. Here and now. What makes you think I even have it? Says Jirig, boldly stepping towards the foreman. And why would I ever hand it to the likes of you? You're always a simple fool, says the man, letting the medallion drop back against his chest. The other half is bound to you, if this half is bound to me, it cannot be taken from you unless you will it. While you still draw breath, that is. Jirig glances at you and then returns and still against the man called Osbirok, but he does not speak. My patience wears thin. Osjirig, the man continues, unlike you, have no desire to spill the blood of my own kin, but to reclaim the honor of my father's legacy. Father's legacy. I'll gladly take that which I seek from your corpse. Don't doubt my resolve, brother. Brother. Wow. No need is suddenly interested with his last utterance. The staff when the man smiles and then fingers his medallion half hanging from his neck. I cannot yet effect your permanent reversion. He seems returns to his strategy, but perhaps this time we make things a bit more plain for your friend. A ghostly light erupts from the medallion half and washes up the chamber. You stare in some belief as the instantaneous and self-transformation that comes overall present with the full man and Jirigs stood only a moment ago, standing out 5 hulking silver claw trolls. Already, almost as rapidly as the transformation took place, the ghostly light fades and the 5 men once again appear human. I cannot fully effect his reversion with only half of our father's medallion, said Osbirok, leering at you. But no human, but this troll hunter of great now is nothing more than a cowardly slayer of his own kind. And now, time has at last caught up with he who has raised a distinguished campaign of terror and murder against his own flesh and blood. Jerry scowls and raises his sword, taking another step towards the grieved man. Pay him no heed, Allison. His claws are soaked with the blood of more humans than you can ever count. I defend the helpless. He hunts them. Enough, roars Osbirok. Give me what is mine. You have forsaken any claim to it. I won't spill your blood. I don't murder my own kin, but I will see you dead by the hands of those lacking any such compunction. Don't force my hand. A guttural snarl from behind seems to lend credence to Osbirok's threat. Both you and Jirig turn and behold a group of 8 large wolfkin leap into the chamber. The opposite chamber, the savage creatures draw up to their full fists and hide and appear to await their master's command. This fight is mine, Osbirok. Allison is to leave it unharmed. You will honor that. You shoot Jirig a derisive glance and draw yourself into invisible position, making it perfectly clear to all the present you have no intention of going anywhere. A remorseless coward, even facing death, you are defiant, repentant, and rich. Kill them. Jirig lunges at Osbirok, striking out with his sword, but is intercepted by 3 men at his opposite side and hurled to the ground. The 8 wolfkin charge across the chamber, leap upon you and Jirig, tearing at you with tooth and claw as Osbirok and the others retreat into the gloom beyond the arch. Jirig stagges to his feet and presses his back against your walls as you two struggle to fend off your bloodthirsty assailants. What? Pride and pain in some of the wolfkins sinks his fangs deeply into your shoulder. Your back presses firmly against Jirig, you work to counter the vicious attack. Yeah, I will. Dead. And another one. Dead. It's been a long... Another one. Dead. And another one. Dead. He turns to find that Jirig has just dispatched the last of the wolfkin he had engaged with. He places his large hand on his shoulder and looks directly in your eyes. There's no time to explain now, he says, breathing heavily, a face streaked with blood, sweat, and grime. Don't have to stand by me, Allison. This fight is not yours. Follow with the others and leave this affair to me. Bruh. Ain't we talked about this already? You lock eyes with Jirig and without uttering a word reach out and initiate a shoulder clasp. His harsh demeanor softens for a moment and he returns the gesture, nodding grimly. So it'll be, he said, turning to face the arch through which Osbirok and the others parted. There is at least one last troll to be hunted. You know that one. When's he gonna teach me troll bunt? Dang it. There's a light. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. You move along the passage beyond the arch. Abreast of Jirig, and the two of you set off in the hopes of overtaking Osberic and the others. Gradually, the tunnel begins to ascend, and within a couple of dozen yards, you find yourself standing at the fork in the passage. You place his hand on his hip, carefully studying both leads of the passage, but appears to be at a loss. Make anything of it, Allison? One's got to be better than the other, I'd wager. Can I just use divination? Use it. Yeah, you sense the great amount of danger lies on the passage to the right. You also sense that left. You nods, full of your decision. The two of you set off along the passage on the left. Staying abreast, you advance cautiously through the gloom. You continually glance back over your shoulder as you go, aware of the fact that something nasty could easily sneak up on you from behind. After several minutes of slow but uneventful progress, the passage widens and the city overhead soars into new heights, receding into the dark shadows far above. Distant bright dots stabs up the blackness ahead, daylight. You exchange a quick glance at Jirig, and the two of you pick up the pace, heading with renewed hope. What you pray is the exit of this dark lair. Suddenly you're both startled by a sound from above. You look up horrified as 6 large wolfkin leap off a high ledge. The sizable beasts rain down upon the two of you, apparently intent on crushing you beneath their bolt in the initial ambush. Wow. How did we fail? Rude. Not gonna let me use restoration, huh? Can I use restoration now? No. Yes, hand healing. Yeah, we got rejuvenation. Heavy hand lays on your shoulder. You turn to find Jirigs smiling, but notice a nasty gash on your shoulder. Fight brings out the best in a guy like you, Allison. Now that was a surprise. You've got to be a bit more careful, I'd say. Two of you quickly set up with the distant light, keeping a wary eye overhead as you proceed along the remainder of the passage. You were within 50 yards of the broad cave mouth ahead when a large wolfkin suddenly loomed into view ahead and moved swiftly to intercept you. Alerted by the sound from behind, you turn to find other vicious creatures moving up from the rear, creeping through the shadows as it stealthily closes in. Oh, brother. Oh, bother, says Jirig in a tone that betrays his fatigue. Which one do you want, Allison? I can't really decide myself. I'll go for the rear. Turn and stroll. You don't have to go easy on him. First, we're saving for what I can see. Dead. Death cries of the two wolfkin erupt. Almost simultaneously, you and Jirig made short work of the vicious foes. Without further delay, in no exchange words, the two of you rush toward the light of day. You step at the mouth of the cave and find yourself on the edge of the grassy clearing that is surrounded by a wall of towering fir. Standing less than 30 yards from you, in the midst of the swaying grass, is Osberic and his 3 armored cohorts. Now familiar staff-holding foe takes a step towards you, an exaggerated scout plainly visible even at a distance. I would have been disappointed had you not emerged, she said, barely able to disguise anger that even now makes his voice tremble. The wolfkin are dispensable, as Jirig, and obviously not of task, sadly. You too are dispensable. Again, Osberic repeats as a man that Jirig hand over his missing half of them, dying, his voice now vacant of any semblance of civility. I'm not the murderer, Osberic. I'm not the shape-shifting coward that sacks and slaughters. My heart isn't so black that I've never known the compassion of others. You are my brother, Osberic, but now I will not. I will allow you to live. Go now and never return to this spot, or I'll hunt you like the beast you are. Osberic roars in rage, unleashes a verbal tirade at Jirig in a guttural tone that you do not understand. Jirig snarls and responds in the same tongue, his words seemingly serving to anger Osberic further. Then you die, he says, his contemptuous glare fixed on Jirigs. The bodies of Osberic and 3 men standing on his side shudder violently as they undergo a rapid and horrible transformation. In a matter of moments, 4 hulking silver-clad trolls stand in the midst of the clearing. What sounds to be at least 1,000 howls suddenly break out in the forest surrounding the clearing, and you spot a large number of dark shapes moving through the trees on all sides. Jirigs does not appear at all fazed by the transformation. He turns to you as to gauge your reaction, now grimly. He then returns a steely gaze to the 4 trolls. Osberic, the fierce, most the foursome of the 4 silver claws still clutches the wooden staff. The things you see we don't have your troll want, says Jirigs. Here we go. Where is your troll bond? Large number of wolfkin break cover and charge out of the trees that surround the clearing, howling wildly as they move to surround you. Keep our backs tight and try to stay together, cries Jirigs as those savage wolf creatures close in on all sides. We're outnumbered, Ellison, but they're the ones outmatched. Jirigs places his hand on your shoulders and spins you around to face him, staring directly in your eyes. He issues a staunch command. Do not spare Osberic. He is my brother, but I will slay him or die in the attempt. Give him no quarter. Watch yourself now. Turn from Jirigs, another group of 8 wolfkin are pulled in front of the rest and now bounding towards you, closing in an alarming rate. Let's hit archery. I got 2 out. So I killed 2 of 6. 2 more of 6. It never does get any easier, gasped Jirigs, rushing up to your side. As last your foe slumped to the ground at your feet, the troll hunter turns his hardened gaze toward the 4 silver claws just as another large group of wolfkin erupt from the forest and charge toward you, howling wildly. You catch sight of Osberic, now in the form of a hulking silver claw, waving about his wooden staff. The tip of the staff glows slightly, brightly, and it seems as if the troll is somehow guiding the wolfkin attack. Jirigs presses it back firmly against yours as the 2 of you firmly place your feet and exhale sharply. A group of 15 wolfkin leap towards you. You certain Jirigs faces at least as many from the other side. As drawn to within melee range, the snarling wolf creatures slowly approach and attack you one at a time. Why? Why are they attacking us one at a time? You don't want to kill his brother. We got a 1 at a time 15. James. Yes, we're on the 4th. They were on the 5th. They were on the 6th. No time for a breather. They were on the 7th. They were on the 8th. You play games with us. Why would you want to time with it when you can overwhelm us? Also, but if you do a bunch, I could probably do some kind of magic spell to kill all of you together also. Come on, rejuvenation. Osberic tilts his head skyward and unleashes an enraged bellow that rattles your teeth. The snarling silver claw lowers his gaze and points the tip of his staff at Jirigs. Enough with the rats, he cries, sweeping his staff over the many courses of wolfkin now strewn about the grassy clearing. I don't suppose you had an occasion to sink your snake fangs into any silver claws of late, asked Jirigs. Perhaps not since the last time you heartlessly slaughtered your own kin. I was there, remember? And I spared you, shouted Jirigs, his face twisted in bronze knee. It's a mistake I've since regretted. I was half grown. If your black heart could see through with it. 2 more summoners and I no doubt would have joined the savage fate of my brothers and our father. As a creature stand by, human and demon unfit to release them men's or trolls. Nothing will ever sate his lust for blood. Enough! Indeed enough. The towering troll grunts loudly, and 2 of the silk claws at his sides immediately start towards you, their broad blades cutting wide strokes before them as they rapidly advance. Steady now, Ellison. Better for worse, this is the end. I don't think it is the end. Because I got 4 more things. Man down. You stand shoulder to shoulder with Jirigs as the pair of savage, sword-wielding silver claws bear down on you. Jirig mutters something incoherent in his breath as the troll approaches and tightens the grip on the hilt of his blade. The brave sword pretends to be brutal melee as the troll on his right draws into within striking distance and launches at you. Dead. The silver claw emits a painful bellow, topples over its bulk, forms shudder, and then becomes still. You turn to your left and see Jirig on the ground struggling with the weight of his savage foe. Suddenly, the beast lands a death blow that instantly renders the troll hunter unconscious. As the silver claw prepares to rip out Jirig's throat with his deadly claws, you leap forward and strike the creature. Your attack fails to substantially wound the troll, but it does have to divert its attention from its helpless prey. You warily assume a defensive stance as the mighty troll roars with rage and raises its sword to strike. Or he's dead. You leap over the corpse of the slain silver claw and rush to Jirig's side. The troll hunter stands slightly and moans weakly as he slowly regains consciousness. Realizing he's in no condition yet to regain his feet, let alone wield his sword, you stand defiantly in front of him, glaring contemptuously at the two trolls still stand in the midst of the tall grass. The old wolf falls. Sneezes Osberic slowly, something in troll tongue to the beast next to him. May you find rest in whatever hellish hole will welcome you, Osjirig. Oskarag killed the other human rat. The massive silver claw next to Osberic grumbles and starts in your direction. The creature heavy sword rests against his broad, festering chest as it stomps toward you, snorting loudly with each thundering step. Are we gonna make it? I think we will. Let's do necromancy. We don't get to do that often. You hurriedly call upon the power of necromancy, hoping against hope that the dark art will aid you in the impending battle. The result of your efforts is far greater than you ever imagined. The carcasses of two slain silver claws at your feet shudder violently and then rise to their feet. Freshly reanimated undead trolls rush forward, following your unspoken command, and brutally assail your approaching foe. Oskurig managed to defeat the two undead trolls and then back to the grave, but not before he sustained some fairly serious wounds. Not wasting time, you charge forward and engage the wounded beast. The mighty silver claw roars with rage and strikes out with you, the sword as you draw it with it to its melee range. The wounded, the fearsome creature remains a deadly foe. Dead. And a shattering death cry proceeds. Oskurig's unceremonious collapse. The towering silver claw pitches forward, its bulky carcass striking the ground with a reverberating thud. Step back from Oskurig's body and stoop by Jirig's side. The troll hunter is barely cautious, but suddenly his eyes up and wide, and he motions his hand in the direction of Osberg, trying to find the staff-holding silver claw striding swiftly towards you. The end! He roars at the tide of energy crackle from the other side. Alas, the end! Guys, I gotta end the episode there. The Slayer of Men. Thanks so much for hanging out and joining me. You can see me, yeah, sweet. Next time, I imagine we're gonna finish these last 3 parts. Until then, thanks so much for hanging out and joining me. You know what I'm gonna say. Peace.